So here is a marker that I'll just read a little bit of. The Gettysburg National Cemetery is after the battle, nearly 7,500 soldiers were hastily buried in shallow graves on the battlefield, while hundreds more died at field hospitals each day. Pennsylvania Governor Andrew Curtin worked with Gettysburg attorney David Wills to establish a proper burial ground for the Union dead who had given the last full measure of devotion. Reburials began on October 27th, 1863 and continued for 5 months. The Soldiers National Cemetery was dedicated on November 19th, 1863. President Abraham Lincoln's few appropriate remarks became his most famous and inspirational speech, the Gettysburg Address. Today, this hallowed ground is a final resting place for American veterans from the Civil War through the Vietnam conflict. It is a place to honor and respect those who have fallen and reflect on the human cost of a nation at war. So here we are at the Gettysburg National Cemetery. This is the first section that's right here at the front, right behind the Lincoln Gettysburg Address Memorial. These places are always just so surreal, if you will, and they're just, these are our heroes. These are the men that died. A lot of these men here I think are like World War II. These aren't the Civil War soldiers. These are the guys that got brought in later, World War I, World War II, Korea and Vietnam. They buried veterans here at National Cemetery here in Gettysburg. Yeah, some cannons here, which I think these are reproductions, because I've heard that the ones that are black are reproductions. The ones that are green, because a lot of them were bronze, over time the bronze will wind out getting that feel to it where it gets that greenish sort of hue. And they have a fence here, and this is where a cemetery is, which I'm not sure if this is, I'm assuming this is the National Cemetery here as well, I guess. I don't know, because these are like different, like unique stones, so I really don't know. But we are going to try to find the memorial to Arthur Lenl, who was my dad's best friend. Now they say on the stone, I've looked it up, where it said October 13th, 1944, and that he died in France. But from what my dad told me, and then his friend Paul Lehman as well, they were sort of three amigos growing up, that he had been killed, I believe it was Omaha Beach. He was in the first group of soldiers that came up on the beaches there, because I know the one beach, I think it was Utah Beach, the Americans took. That one they had sort of a cliff, and the casualties weren't near as bad as they were on Omaha Beach, where Arthur Lenl would have died. But like Cliff had said, there is discrepancy sometimes on those things where they just don't get the dates right, but he would have died, I guess it was June 6th, 1944. So we'll continue on our way, everybody. Thanks. I'm just gonna video here a little bit along the way, because it's just such a beautiful day here in Gettysburg. We're walking down to this section that I believe Arthur Lenl will have been buried. There's another monument here. That's the one thing in Gettysburg, you never run short of monuments, but these trees are just beautiful. Huge trees, yellow leaves. Like I said, it's a gorgeous fall day. If I remember correctly, there's another section over here. I think the section we were just in is section 1, and this is section 2 coming up here, because I remember this stone wall here, and he's buried right along that wall. Because I have, off of Find a Grave, I have the exact lot number, I think the row, and then the actual grave number. That is one thing that's nice about these cemeteries, the national military cemeteries. Everything's numbered, so otherwise it'd be impossible to find a number of these graves. But just sort of take it all in, you know, and just what all happened here on these hallowed grounds. And just knowing you're in the same area where that famous address was made, there's just so much history here in Gettysburg. And it really, you in essence are left in awe. We're going to go off the path here shortly and quick go down here, and hopefully we can find Arthur Lenl's. And then, like I said, there's a Confederate soldier that I guess accidentally got buried in here, because this is only supposed to be for Union soldiers. They had mistaken on the tag, it had said MISS for Mississippi, but they thought it said Massachusetts, so he accidentally got buried in here. So we want to try to find that grave as well, if possible, just because of the uniqueness. And once again, just that's an interesting Woodrow Wilson Blouse, named after the president, most likely. Yeah, because he was born in 1916. I think if I remember correctly, he's down in this area along the wall, because if I remember correctly, his was actually right along the wall. My dad knew exactly where it was, and I'm just remembering off of when I was a kid, because it just always stuck with me. There's a guy from World War I. There's a guy that was a colonel. I'm going to pause here just for a second, because I want to look a little bit more at my find a grave and see if I can find I'm seeing here where the numbers are on the backs. I was looking for that, so let me quick look at what the numbers are on that, and then I'll know for sure where I'm supposed to actually be looking. Thanks, everybody. So we are here at Arthur H. Lenl's grave. Like I said, it says he died October 13th, 1944, but it was actually would have been June 6th, 1944. But it took a little while to find it, but finally found it. I did remember he was right up against the wall here. But this is Section 2. There's a really beautiful monument over there. So it's just a matter of finding Section 2, row 7, and the 9th one in the row, and that's my dad's best friend. Obviously never got to know him, but my dad really admired Art, and him, Art, and Paul Lehman were inseparable growing up. And war has a habit of taking life, and the very best of us which is certainly shown here. So thanks everybody. We'll be doing some more. We're going to try to find this Confederate soldier then. One of the sobering things that Cliff just pointed out is here where it's the Civil War soldiers. So many of them just say unknown, 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 like you guys were just so torn up. It's just a shame. We've talked about it a lot of times when, you know, there's another unknown, another unknown. You know, everybody, I feel for the most part, deserves to have a place where they can be remembered, and to just have unknown is really, really sad. So we're going to try to find, it's the Massachusetts part of the cemetery. He's buried there, and it looks like he's probably the very first one. So Cliff is right over there, the wandering woodsman. He's looking around. Here's a bunch of them. They're just unknown. That was a cavalry officer. Regiment 4. Yeah, it was just such a brutal battle. A bunch more unknown. Wow, there's like this whole row is like nothing but unknown. You just look at that, just unknown. Yeah. And they had to hastily bury so many of these guys because unfortunately, you know, it was in the middle of summer, and you know, bodies decompose quickly, so then you have the threat of like disease. So you had to really be expedient about burying them, and a lot of them, they got buried just a couple feet deep just to get the bodies out of there, just because of how bad the decomposition was. And it's just really, it's just a shame. It's sad. We just went by the New York marker, so here's a bunch more. It's just all unknown. It's very, like Cliff had said, it's sobering to see that. Beautiful monument right there. Almost looks like the figure in the front's almost like a Poseidon type character. Here's in New Hampshire. It says 49 bodies. Rhode Island, 12 bodies. You just think about how many men came from these different states to this small town. Delaware, 15 bodies. This looks like West Virginia. 11 bodies. Illinois, 6. And here's it's just unknown. Wow. 143. As all of these through here. It's really, really sad. No one should be forgotten. I wonder if this is more unknown soldiers here because it's a different section. And that's what it looks like, yeah. Sheesh. Wow. 411 bodies. Unknown. Just to be relegated to being a number. That's a monument there to New York. I believe these are cedar trees. Cliff, are these cedars?
What?
Are these cedars?
Yeah, some kind of cedar.
Yeah. They always have a lot of cemeteries, the older cemeteries, they have the cedars. Did you find them in Massachusetts?
What?
Did you find them in Massachusetts?
No, I have not yet.
There's Maine. Yeah, these two sections here are unknown. There's all those little square stones.
Yeah, that's I remember that. That was pretty sobering.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's like a normal cemetery over there.
Yeah, that's the evergreen. Yeah, that's like a regular.
That's the evergreen. That's the one that has like 7,000.
Maybe, yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah, because this has, I forget how many they said they have here, but it's like Fort Indian Town Gap. That's like 60-some thousand there, or 16 or something like that. But it's a huge number compared to like here's only 1,000 or so.
Yeah, because his marker looked like these here.
Yeah.
Not like that.
So you went the whole way over there then?
Yeah, but I might. Who knows?
I forgive you, Cliff. Here's Michigan. Back there was, I forget what that was. 171. I forget which one this was. Maine. And that was Maine, Joshua Chamberlain's unit that they defended Little Round Top. They were Maine. So we're going to continue looking here for Massachusetts. I think the next one is New York. But his stone definitely looks like the ones that are right here in this area where they're flat and they're in that like semicircle type curve. I believe this is New York if I remember. I don't think I went over the stone over there. Yeah, wow, New York, 861 bodies. They gave a lot of their young men here. I would assume New York and Pennsylvania probably were two of the states that gave the most here. New Jersey would probably be up there as well. We're going to see what this one is over here. I'm not sure if Cliff got the whole way over. I know he was up further. This is Pennsylvania, yeah. 534 bodies. Let's see what this monument is just here, just quick. This is Pennsylvania. Yeah, wow. So this is a Major General. It's hard to see here. It's Collis. Like Collis Zuavis or something like that. I'm not sure if that's his name or. Cause I know they had some specialized troops that had like a star with a Z as well. But it says Chaz H.T. Collis. That's probably his name. And then Collis is probably he organized. Because they had those really fancy uniforms and stuff like that. They're like red. Some of them were red and some of them were different colors. But they were really quite impressive uniforms. Always liked looking at my dad's Civil War magazines that he got, and he'd have those Zuavies, I think is what they were called, however you pronounce that. I think Cliff might have found Massachusetts now. It's always, you hate to use the term fun, but it's always enjoyable. Yeah, this is Massachusetts. 159 bodies. So I'm going to pause here just quick because I'm going to look because it has the exact placement of his gravesite, and then we'll visit that. Alright, so Cliff found him as J.L. Johnson, Company K, Regiment 11. He actually fought for Mississippi, but it was a misreading of the label, and they thought it said Massachusetts, so he's actually buried here. He's actually in the third row from the path, the paved path. and he's the very first one right here. You know, the grass section in between this and Pennsylvania. So J.L. Johnson fought from Mississippi, buried with Massachusetts. Quite a neat place. And then occasionally you come across a creature in the wild known as the cliff. So we're going to check some other stuff out here, and then we'll see in this video if we continue with some more with the National Cemetery. Thanks, everybody. Alright, we're here at the monument for the Battle of Gettysburg. It's quite an impressive monument. Some really cool figures around that they have. Marble statues. These are one of those things that you just see that are so impressive. And cool figure up at the top. I'm sure each one of them has some kind of meaning as well, because they're sort of sitting on their thrones. The one's a soldier, probably a Union soldier. But just the architecture and everything is really, really impressive. You can see like the one has a wheel there, so you would assume it has something to do significant. Definitely a cool place to visit at some point. I'm going to pause here. So this is actually, it says Kentucky honors her son Abraham Lincoln, who delivered his immortal address at the site now. So this is the Soldiers Monument. So this is actually where the Gettysburg Address took place. So that's actually pretty cool. Because all it says is, like on the other side, it says Gettysburg and then the dates of the battle. But that's pretty neat. So this is the site where he gave his speech. This is where he gave his speech. This is the Soldiers Monument. So cool. Everybody, we will see you about town. So just so you guys can see, here's some of the cannons that they have like that gray hue to them. These are the original ones that were actually at the battle. So that's pretty cool. They actually have on the muzzle here 1863. That's pretty neat. And they have here Army of the Potomac. And this is the Battery H 1st U.S. Artillery, 6 12-pounders. Lieutenant Chandler P. Eakin commanding. Huh. Pretty neat. Alright. I think with that, we're going to close this video off. It's been a cool experience. We got to find both the graves that we wanted to find. Pretty neat day so far. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. With that, this will be the end of our video for the Gettysburg National Cemetery. It's been a really cool adventure. We found Arthur Lenl's grave, got to video a bunch of the other stuff, see some cool monuments, and then I also found the J.L. Johnson, one of apparently 9 Confederate troops that got mistaken and got buried here at the Gettysburg National Cemetery. So with that, I will say goodbye. The wandering woodsman who's walking away and ignoring me. I guess he said, hopefully I got that on camera, but we're going to go hit a bunch of other places yet. Cliff has a number of places he wants to hit for his channel, and I'll go along for the ride. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you all about town.